I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty Israel.
He is terrible!
We gotta know how many wieners are going down these dudes' throats.
Why don't we go quick, because I don't give a fuck about anything that's gonna happen on Saturday.
Hello, boys! Well, it's actually just two boys tonight. I got my co-pilot here, new Shaun. I guess it's been raining a lot in the bluegrass states, so the sodsman's gotta do sodman type of things. Cut grass.
He's got to keep his lawn in tip-top shape. You can't, with a name like that, you can't let it go by the wayside, you know? Definitely not.
So, new Shaun, we had a lot of big fights over the weekend. Some exceeded expectations and others not so much.
Ugh.
Not so much indeed. So, I don't think a consensus bet could be any worse than what we had last week.
Oh, man. That's
Francis Ngannou inside the distance.
Looked like a steal. Minus 140. I got it at minus 130. It seemed like...
And now he's gun shy?
I guess so.
What is happening here?
This was crazy. So I actually went deep into the forest camping this weekend. You know, no cell service. So as soon as I got back into cell service on Sunday, I quickly looked up what was going on, and I look and I see Francis Ngannou and Derek Lewis goes the distance, and I'm like, what in the hell happened? Do a little more research. They almost tie a record for least amount of strikes landed. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on?
A 3-round fight?
In a 3-round decision. And then I also saw DC knocked out Stipe in the first round. I'm like, did I come back to Bizarro World or what's going on? First we'll talk about Ngannou. I think we might have to remove the hog from his name after a thing like that. Like, wow.
He's gonna have to go down to just a 9-incher now. I mean,
just average. Just average.
Yeah, just average for people from where he's from.
Yeah, so obviously Dana White was absolutely pissed at him, but you know, we obviously take what he says.
How classic was that?
Yeah.
Like typical Dana fashion after the event ends.
You betcha.
Well, myself and some other associates of mine in the UFC, we've noticed an attitude change with him. You can't talk to him. What do you like? Oh yeah, if he won by knockout in the second minute or something, you would have been like, oh yeah, he's back in it. He's my guy.
Just, it was just blowing him.
Exactly. Just blowing the hog. And now you're just now it's just a freaking kazoo. I mean,
he's so salty. He hitched his ride to a hype train that had a really good streak. He ended up, you know, kind of shitting the bed against Stipe. I mean, Stipe was a good champion. He had some tools against him, so whatever. Ngannou's still a young fighter, and then he does that, which, I mean, obviously it was a terrible, terrible fight, and he's just like, yep, his ego's out of control. He needs to get his shit together. Like, oh my God, Danny, you're so salty. It's hilarious. And
I mean, he is so predictable.
Yeah, I mean, the dude lies. He's very predictable when it comes to just shitting on fighters and all that stuff. It's quite entertaining when you look at it through clear glasses. We kind of know what the deal is with Dana.
Yeah, totally. Not much else to say there. I mean, Lewis, I guess, was kind of cautious, or maybe it was that Lewis was just kind of waiting for Ngannou to kind of throw, and it just never happened.
Yeah.
So he didn't throw. So, do you think it's fair to put the whole blame on Ngannou? I mean, or do we just like pretend this never happened? And
I think we naturally shit on Ngannou more because, I mean, he was the minus 400 favorite or whatever. He was the guy that should have just steamrolled Lewis. I mean, this was a fairly good matchup, I think, for him, and he just did nothing. So you got to give some blame to Lewis. His back supposing was acting up, which is, he has a history of this thing, so he wasn't over aggressive. And I mean, you're fighting, for instance, Ngannou, you don't want to take too many risks, but that's a tough one. And then Ngannou obviously came out and said he was rattled from his last fight, and he needs to kind of figure that out, and which I thought was kind of interesting. It's not like he got like flatlined, absolutely knocked cold by Stipe. I guess he was just worried that he was going to gas. I don't know. It was weird, especially against a guy like Derek Lewis, who I said in our breakdown, he just doesn't have one shot kill power. He waits for guys to get tired. It's more of accumulation, and if he does get you down, you're in trouble for sure. But this seems like a fairly good stylistic matchup, and he just did not pull the trigger. Was interesting to watch after the fact, after it all came out, and kind of knew what I was getting into, and I was just like, wow, this is insane. Everybody is true. Nothing is happening.
And Derek Lewis has a history of being in weird fights, too.
Yeah.
Like, remember that? What was it against, like, Travis Brown when he got hit in, like, the chest, like, 5 times and was, like, rubbing his stomach like he was hungry? and then all of a sudden just lays an absolute beating on Travis Brown. There was the weird Mark Hunt fight, too. What about the Shamil Abdurrahimov fight? I mean, there's a lot. So I guess kind of in hindsight, you're like, you should think when Derek Lewis fights, weird shit happens.
But still.
Even this weird? I guess, yeah. Shame on us, I guess.
That's a tough one. I mean, I'm cautious betting people coming back from a knockout, but it was more just of a long decision. But Ngannou is a really, really young fighter. He's only been doing martial arts for 4 or 5 years, so I guess we kind of should have been more tepid when it comes to betting him off of his kind of first career loss and a pretty decent beatdown. But I don't know. Hopefully he can get it back, and hopefully he's still that killer that we saw.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And the main event, Fat Daniel.
That weighed more than Stipe ended up. We thought he was going to be, 20 pounds lighter. Just comes
not
in pudgy.
So fast. It's all in the belly.
That's right.
Apparently it doesn't matter. Because Daniel's hands are a lot faster than Stipe's, and apparently when he puts weight in his stomach, it makes his hands even more powerful.
Yeah, and Cruz mentioned that. And I mean, you kind of always got to take that with a grain of salt. They were saying that, he's been knocking out guys way more than when he was at light heavyweight and stuff like that. But damn, his speed was a very big advantage in that fight, and he just put it on Stipe. Very impressive. I bet doesn't go the distance and did not expect to win it that way, but I guess I'll take it. Sometimes you get lucky.
Yeah, sometimes you do get lucky. And now Daniel Cormier is a 2-division champion.
Champ.
And now it looks like
he's going to fight Shogun.
Yeah, well, that was something else. That's not happening, I don't think.
No.
No, that would be bizarre. But Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
What do we think of this?
No surprise whatsoever. I mean, there's been all these rumors about Brock coming back. We know the UFC is looking to make some money, putting definitely money ahead of anything else recently. I mean, they've kind of always been that way, but even more a bit recently. And
what if I told you that with ESPN now being on board, that you should expect to see more high-profile fights? What if I told you that was something that you should expect?
I'm not surprised. I mean, I think the UFC at this point is going to do what's best for the bottom dollar. What, in your opinion, what kind of fights could they do? Like, are they bringing in different people or what do you say? Like, I mean, they can do
I guess that's possible.
But like, what other way can they do high profile fights? I mean, there is only a couple guys that they can put in there. I mean, they did the CM Punk thing, they got the Brock Lesnar thing. Like, what else are you thinking of?
I don't know yet, but I don't have anything necessarily top of mind. But just the visibility that they'll get on ESPN, I mean, the ratings that they get will be higher than what they were on Fox significantly, and then just there'll be more talking heads, and I just think there will be more influence because ESPN's involvement, and you should expect to see some more interesting things on the horizon. That's all I'll say.
And maybe more, WWE style drama in the cage and even out of it.
Yeah, could be. Yeah.
Could definitely see it.
Like those side-by-side interviews that they do, on SportsCenter, and there's some drama that way.
Yeah.
Different ways to promote things.
Just different ways to heat it up, I guess, and draw in the casuals, thinking that these guys all hate each other, whoever they're fighting, right?
Yeah, it's just going to be interesting to see what makes the televised fight cards and what goes on the ESPN Plus fight cards and how those two, we'll call them brands or event packages, will be different than compared to the pay-per-view packages. I think that could be really interesting, but we'll see.
So,
what will an ESPN event look like? How many hours will an event on ESPN be versus what's on the preliminary packages and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. How
much influence ESPN has with TV and the announcers and everything else? I don't know. I think you might see a good amount of changes, but
yeah, it'll be interesting times. Who do you think Daniel Cormier fights next? Is he going to fight before that Brock fight or not? Because Brock obviously can't fight until January.
Do you believe Brock's going to clear USADA?
Oh, he'll find a way.
Then I would just wait till January.
It's just with a fighter aging as he is. Obviously that's a big payday for him. It's just
you want to risk it?
Yeah, I mean, he could always. The thing is, he could just fight at light heavyweight, and it's obviously not a good look if he loses at light heavyweight, but then he still has the heavyweight belt, right?
It would be an awful look, and that's the problem. But
and the thing
who is he losing to there?
Yeah, honestly, the only fight that I think they should do is if Gus. It just doesn't make much sense, like time wise. Because I don't know. Do you know when Gustafson's fighting next? Like, I honestly think that is like the only guy that he should really fight at light heavyweight. If not,
I think Gustafson's fighting in August in Los Angeles. No, in Los Angeles. I thought it was in Los Angeles.
LA fight. Yeah. I think that is in August. So that doesn't, time wise, that doesn't really make sense at all. Like, even if he wins in a minute, he's not going to fight, in the next month against Cormier or at the end of the year. And then so I don't know. It doesn't really match up with the division. I think Cormier likely waits. He fights Brock, and then after that he fights Jones. I think that's it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you have to do it that way. There's no point in risking it. But I will say that it creates an excellent betting opportunity. One of the best ones that you may see if that fight happens in January, all of 2019.
You backing up the Brinks truck?
I think there might be a possibility. might be McGregor, Floyd Mayweather-esque.
What are the odds? The odds right now are minus 227. Is the cheapest I can find Daniel Cormier.
What price?
Minus 227.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
It's not open at many books. There's only a couple. But yeah, that's an interesting line. Obviously, you're going to have your money tied up if you do want to bet it, but that's an interesting line is what I'll say.
Yeah, it's enough to be said at this point. we'll wait till closer to the event to discuss that one more.
Yes, sir.
There was a lot of other fights that happened last weekend. You had 2 fight cards. We'll start with the contenders, or rather not the Contender Series, although that's going on as we're recording the podcast. Not as good as maybe the previous weeks, but it looks like we're getting some longer fights, so that's a plus.
Yep.
Not just
squash,
Bellator, Strikeator, whatever you want to call it, beatdowns that sometimes we see. But yeah, so last weekend got off with a bang with Oscar Piechota nearly winning in the first round against Meerkat, and then the second round, Meerkat Piechota completely gasses, and then Meerkat gets the win, and I lost like half my money in Gamble Master over it. Not good.
Yeesh.
Not good at all. Yeah, niche. That was ugly look from Piechota. And then there was a few decisions in a row. You had Steven Peterson getting a split decision over Matt Bessette. I don't know how you have I think it was the first time in UFC history that there were 2 majority decisions in a row with Bryce Mitchell.
I mean,
taking
the
out
latter
Tyler Diamond.
The latter one of those fights is an absolute dog shit fight. Nobody cares. So.
Sean Gunther.
I told you.
Alan Zuniga. Alan Zuniga is terrible.
So is Gunther, though. They're both garbage.
I think Zuniga might be a legitimate F.
That's fair.
That's fair. One guy who's getting a lot of play now, and seems to be Ariel Helwani's new favorite pet fighter. Luis the Violent Bob Ross Pena.
Hell yeah.
Definitely one of the better nicknames in MMA.
Mm-hmm.
Took out Richie Smullen by submission guillotine first round. I don't think we need to talk about those first 4, new Shaun, but what do you think about your boy Violent Bob Ross?
It was a pretty impressive win. Obviously, you got to take into consideration who he was fighting. Yeah, it was a shitty SBG product, so you can't.
We definitely not friends of the MMA analysis.
Yeah, we can't pump his tires too much, but he showed a variety of skills. A lot of what I saw on the Ultimate Fighter came through there. Really good striker, had some good scrambles, and even locked in a nice sub there. So an interesting guy to watch. He's got a little bit of charisma, and he's got a sweet nickname. So I'll be interested to see it as the next fight.
Yeah, he looks like a character out of a comic book.
Yep.
He's got like orange hair. I mean, what is going on? And he's super big for the weight class. He's interesting at a minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And in a sport where you kind of need to stand out in order to make money, in order to be, to develop fame. It is an individual sport, so that's how it works. So he's definitely made an impression, more so than any other tough fighter from that season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Which is even more than the guys who won the championships on the main card. But we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, should be good. Interesting fight. I thought so. At women's flyweight, and that's rare for a women's fight. My girl, Montana De La Rosa, takes out Rachel Ostovich, submission round 3. I think De La Rosa, there's something there. New Shaun, do you care?
No, didn't watch it. This is there's a couple of fights that I didn't see, and this was one of them. Supposedly I missed out. I would probably disagree, but you were speaking of some people pumping up Rachel Ostovich's look. They seem to like her, but she's a loser, so should we care?
Yeah, I'm not going to comment further on that. Yeah, so main card, Julian Marquez missed weight, fought Alessio Di Chirico. Did you see this one, new Shaun? Split decision? Is this one you have to disagree with?
Split decision with a 27-30 is always a good time. I did not catch up on this one yet, so I just saw the scorecards. You'll have to comment on this. What What's going on here? Why is there a
27-30
and then two 29-28s?
It probably should have been 29-28 Marquez across the board.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but you know how it is with these morons. The guy who's throwing the bigger shots and pressing the entire time loses to the guy who scores like a takedown for like 15 seconds, and then they get up and he backs up against the cage. It was one of those.
Yeah, MMA Decisions has it.
You gotta wonder, you get a takedown, you automatically win the round if the other guy doesn't actually knock you down with a punch. You know, it makes no sense.
Go ahead, sorry.
They always overrate the takedown.
Yeah, MMA Decisions has it 14-3 for Marquez. 14 people gave it to him, and 3 gave it to DiChirico. So
was there
a
any
bit of a rough one.
30-27s for Marquez?
There was one.
Oh, okay.
Everyone except one was a 29-28 for Marquez.
That's always good. Biggest prop winner of the weekend, Roxanne Modafferi,
with those elbows.
Elbows and top full mount twice. Elbows forces the ref to stop it against Barb Honchak, former Invicta champion. Second round. Modafferi, I think, has 2 TKO wins in her last 3 fights.
Insanity.
That TKO prop I paid about plus 1650.
Jesus, I'm looking it up. Yeah, plus 1665.
It was the number 1 prop winner of the weekend. You know, if I'm not talking about round specifics. That gets a little more. I'm talking about just method and fighter. Number 1 of the weekend, Roxanne Modafferi. I have to give her credit where credit's due.
For sure.
Considering where she started in the TUF House and what she was like in Invicta and her ability now, she's got to be you can make a case for her being the most improved fighter, maybe outside of Felice Herrig or Rafael Dos Anjos in like the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, definitely for women's, she's up there with Felice Herrig. She really had nothing. Less than nothing for a striking
Max
game.
Holloway wasn't a great fighter when he lost to Conor McGregor, and now he's one of the best in the world. But there was people were touting him as a future guy. It's a little different. No one thought anything of this woman. She's winning fights.
Yeah, I mean she's throwing some damage on the ground. She's obviously always been a pretty good grappler. Her striking game has been pretty piss poor, but she's finally picking it up, and she's able to get these girls down and rain some bows. I know they weren't that powerful, but Honchak could do nothing about it. She could do nothing about it. So the ref had to step in. That's I'll give props to Modafferi all day. She's picked up some good wins in the last little bit to show some pretty big improvement.
And she's kind of a pioneer.
She's been
doing this forever,
for a long time.
And she's actually a person you want to root for. She's honestly genuinely. She's not. She seems like she genuinely loves the sport and would pretty much go out of her way to pretty much help anybody. So it's a good story, and it's nice. It's one of those things that's nice to see. You know what I mean? Because there really is a bunch of asshole alpha male
bad
types
people
in this sport.
Yeah,
and she's definitely one. Who's rooting against her? Honestly, so it's good to see. Further up on the card, we kind of thought about this one. Alex Caceres and Martin Bravo. They said, why is this line on Caceres so low? And then he won, but then I was like, you actually had to sweat it out with a split decision that shouldn't have been a split decision. Oh, man. He clearly won the first 2 rounds. Again, the judging in this sport is so bad. Shaun, did you watch this one?
Yeah, this is, I don't know what it is about Caceres. He's just in close fights, and even when they're not really close, they're somewhat decisive. Somehow the judges fuck him up. He definitely should have lost his last fight. and somehow that was a split decision. This one, it seemed like it was fairly straightforward. Caceres, some other people, I guess, would disagree, but I thought it was pretty easily 29-28, and then he still has to sweat through a crazy decision. So I don't know. What you should probably start betting just him and his just goes to decision, because it is terrifying to have money on this guy.
People.
No, he doesn't finish people. He's in close fights, and I don't know. The judges just can't figure out what he's doing in there, whether it's for or against him. I don't know, but always a sweat with the Alex Caceres fight.
Yeah, it really is. And then your tough fights. So we'll talk about both of them. Canada, go!
Oh shit! Number one, pound for pound.
Number one prospect in Canadian MMA. Met Brad Katona. No, anyway, defeated Jay Cuciniello by unanimous decision in a fight that was a complete blowout.
Just
New Shaun, do you have any belief in Katona, or is this just another Canadian hype train?
He's got a little bit of skill, for sure. He's got skill, but the guy
is he any more than say Mitch Gagnon? I
think he can be a Mitch Gagnon. I don't know if he can be better than that. It's that featherweight, man. Featherweight is a fucking just stacked
I'll say
division.
this. You see any point in time where Brad Katona could be could be ranked for 1 week in the featherweight division?
Oh, how I gotta look to see how young is Brad Katona. Can he just like get there by attrition and just maybe in like 10 years
sticking around for 35?
So he's 26 years old. So I mean, he is definitely a young featherweight. I don't see him being ranked anytime soon. That featherweight division is stacked to the brim. So that's a tough one. I would say no.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be. I don't see it. I think he's too small for the weight class, in all honesty, which is kind of hard to say. I mean, unless you're like kind of like a rare talent, like a Chad Mendes, where you're tiny but you pack real
power.
haze and can wrestle people. I mean, Katona has seems like to have some wrestling chops, but he's kind of more stocky and doesn't have the punching power. So.
He definitely he has fought at bantamweight, so that is something. Right. Like his last 2 fights before entering the Tough House was at bantamweight, so there maybe has a little bit more success, and he could get into that top 15. But yeah, he's definitely, I think, too small for a featherweight in the UFC for sure.
Before we get to an interesting matchup on the Contender Series between Bevan Lewis, who fought previous year, and Alton Cunningham, I think, also fought at a previous time on the Contender Series. Should be a good matchup in that I believe that's light heavyweight division. The other tough finale, Mike Trizano fighting out of my backyard, Bergen County, New Jersey, fighting at Tiger Schulman's, taking on Joe Giannetti, who people were raving about as his stud. New Shaun, how do you describe that 3rd round performance from Joe Giannetti?
Yeah, he kind of just gave it away. I mean, he had a chance there to get the win. I mean, I don't know how the hell they got this a split decision. This was pretty easy. Trizano 29-28. He's lucky to get a split decision. He definitely has a little bit of skills, but I don't know what his mindset is there.
His guard is nasty.
Yep, for sure.
But mentally, he looks like a complete moron. He completely blew this fight. Trizano wanted it more. You can see it in the 3rd round. And that's why sometimes it's always good to bet on the fighter who comes from the good gym, because at least you know they're being coached properly, and how to win and how to lose. Anyway, this fight's about to start. Should be an interesting contest. Main event of the tough card, Israel Adesanya versus Brad Tavares. We thought this would be a pretty big test for Israel Adesanya. was a test, but he passed it with flying colors. No.
Yeah, very much so. His clinch game, fighting off the grind from Tavares was on point. He got taken down only one time, and he was able to kind of just hold him there for as long as he could before getting up. Didn't take too much damage, and on the feet, he is world class kickboxer. I got to give a little props to Brad Tavares. This was almost like I would say 90% a kickboxing fight, and he didn't get absolutely murdered and knocked out. So he's shown a fairly good chin. So props to him for staying in there. Very
he landed
impressed.
Some punches of his own
for sure. Yeah, he landed. Adesanya can obviously take it. And Adesanya on the feet is a joy to watch.
He might be the best fighter in the division on his feet. And I actually think that he is an awful matchup for the champion.
The problem is if can he get there?
That's the issue. Because if I think he gets there, I think he wins.
And
I don't want to say it too loud, but don't tell anybody, but the matchup's very good for him there.
I kind of feel that way, like with Gastelum as well. Just he needed to get there. It's going to be a close fight, I think, but it's a tough matchup. He's good. He's just got to get
Gastelum against Adesanya or Gastelum. Against
I think Gastelum's a decent style matchup against Whitaker. But Gastelum against a wrestler, you know what's going to happen. So I just find, like, same with Adesanya. If Adesanya can kind of dodge those
Weidman,
those big wrestlers, then he could be very, very good in this division.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So there's some interesting things potentially with. And Bevin Lewis might be getting a contract right about now.
Beauty. I tailed Lance and he's been crushing, and he's mauling this guy. The question is he ranked? So Adesanya is still not ranked.
Well, I don't think they updated the rankings yet.
It's usually Monday.
I'm going to take a look. I'm assuming they haven't because he'd have to be ranked. Oh!
Wait for it.
Wait for it.
Oh,
sorry.
It
Spoiler.
Oh, that's okay. I love it.
That was a good one. So, for those that are kind of watching, if you're watching while we're watching, some brutal knee bombs. Impressive. Contract is happening. He didn't get it last year. He was on a developmental. He's going to get the contract this year. I'd say he's the only lock from what I've seen so far. Shaun, what do you think of this kid, Bevin Lewis?
Yeah, he's impressed. That's for sure. Those knees were vicious. The line came down on him like crazy. He closed minus 155. He was
wow.
That was a steal of a price.
Terrible line.
Yep.
So let me just look at these rankings, see if they've been updated. Because I don't think they have.
I don't think they have because Tavares is still at 8, and he didn't move. So. But
updated Tuesday, June 26th.
Yeah, so I guess they haven't been updated in 2 weeks. That's good stuff, UFC. Get your shit together. What the fuck are you doing?
So looking at these rankings now, Tavares is going to come down. Uriah Hall goes down. Looking at this. I mean, Paulo Costa goes up to 8, maybe?
Yeah, I don't think you can put him higher than 8.
So then where does Adesanya go?
I don't know.
He's going to go on there.
Do you drop? I don't know.
He has to go above Hall. He has to go above Tavares.
So maybe Hall drops right out?
From 9 to 15?
I think so.
I mean, I think you just drop Mutange.
Yeah, but I mean, what's Hall done?
Jotko, I think Jotko. I think Hall should be ahead of Jotko. He floored him.
Yeah, he just beat him. So I guess you drop Jotko.
Definitely drop Jotko. I think you drop Mutange.
So
and then drop everything else down.
Adesanya should be 15 at least. And then what do we...
Well, I think he's going to go right to 10 or 9.
You think he'll go that high, eh?
Yeah.
What
Yep.
what do we want from him next? Does he fight Thiago Santos? I know that was kind of rumored with Tavares kind of.
I wanted that fight for prior to this one. I think you could do the Santos fight just to see him up against kind of like a pure power striker, because we haven't seen that yet.
There's been talk of maybe Brunson.
You could do that, but I would do Santos first, build the hype up first more.
Yeah.
You want him to get kind of like a big KO potentially before he goes into like that kind of a bout.
He definitely could do that against Brunson. We know how he likes to run at people.
That's possible. They could do something like that.
Yeah.
I would like to see the Santos fight.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about the Uriah Hall, Paulo Costa winner. I don't think you should have Costa and Adesanya fight each other. I think that's not good for business.
Yeah, separate lanes.
Cool. Yeah, exactly. That's what people always forget. Why don't you have these guys fight together? Why don't you just do different paths and then eventually get to the same spot anyway?
Yeah.
Why kill two birds, or why kill one bird? Well, you don't have to. Yep. Let them. Don't you want multiple new stars instead of maybe one?
Yeah.
So that'll be my take. Good performance.
Very good.
I'm curious to listen to this episode with Joe Rogan that came out today. That he was the guest today, so that should be an interesting take.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Might actually tune into that one.
Yeah, I think it just came out 3 or 4 hours ago. Tuesday afternoon, so definitely fresh. Anyway, UFC 226. We already covered the top 2 fights, so let's kind of go over some of the other ones. We're going to skip right over the Moyle-Whitmire fight, other than the whole drama with Vinny Magalhaes. Did you hear about that thing?
Because I did see that because I just read.
What a weird situation, right?
So Magalhaes trained with Moyle, is it?
I don't really understand
either. And then
either,
he was cornering Whitmire, but he didn't. I just don't know. I might have those mixed up. But then he was cornering Whitmire, and he didn't even tell Moyle that he was.
No, the other way around.
Oh, okay.
Other way
around. So it was the other way around.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he cornered Moyle, and then Whitmire won. But then Whitmire was saying, I guess maybe she trains at the gym with Magalhaes, and he told
didn't tell her.
Or he told her he wasn't going to be, but then he shows up there like the day of. And she tells him to F off, and like the whole speech. I was like, this is great. I mean, good drama there.
Yeah,
but
lots of drama on a curtain jerker women's fight that nobody cares about.
Exactly. Next fight, though.
Wow.
This one I nailed. And
you got it.
A lot of detractors, I said, watch out for Dan Hooker here. He's on the rise. Burns susceptible on the feet. I think he gets KO'd. And what do you know? Dan Hooker lays him out. Less than 3 minutes. Really impressive.
Very
win
impressive.
For Dan Hooker. He's got 4 straight finishes in the UFC.
Yeah, he's putting it on people. He does have a little bit of deficiencies there, but damn, he's putting in work the last 4 fights. That was impressive. Both landed at the same time. Obviously, Hooker landed way cleaner, and it was lights out for Burns.
Yeah, since he moved up to lightweight, he's got 4 finishes in a row. Pretty good stuff. And I gotta say, that region of the world, Oceania, New Zealand.
A bit of an uptick.
A bit of an uptick, huh?
Yeah.
What is going on down there? Is it the training, or just people getting noticed? Is it maybe there's a few different. We got Alex Volkanovski down there, Jake Matthews, obviously Mark Hunt, Adesanya, Robert Whittaker. There's a good amount going on.
Yeah, just an uprising overall. You got some older guys, you got some younger guys. It's
Tuivasa,
all coming together.
About him.
Yep.
Tuivasa, Tyson Pedro. Definitely some new blood. Confident fighters too, which is pretty cool to see. So we saw it kind of with England for a bit, and then obviously the Russian uprising, which we keep seeing. There was a little bit of Scandinavia life for a while, and it kind of comes in pockets. I think we're going to see. We saw it even a little bit with Mexico in the last couple of years. From that TUF Latin America series, if you go back and look in hindsight, you're like, these guys actually, they've had some wins in the UFC. Some of these guys aren't half bad. So you're kind of seeing different pockets arise, and I think this one is the latest one. I think you're going to see China start to rise as well in the next 2, 3, 4 years as more of those guys start to get developed, and you're seeing things with ONE FC, kind of getting better as well, and more talent coming out of there. And I think some of those guys move to the UFC and other North American orgs. So keep an eye on that. But really impressive from Dan Hooker. Next fight was pretty interesting. At least they got the right guy won. Curtis Millender took out Max Payne Griffin, which was a pretty good striking fight. I gotta say though, Millender's a pretty nasty fighter on the feet, right, Shaun?
Very nasty. He throws a variety of stuff, and he definitely has a good amount of power. We also kind of saw his shortcomings in this fight. He got taken down and kind of looked like a fish out of water. He'll have to tighten that up if he wants to get some bigger spots here. But yeah, on the feet, he is very fun to watch, and this is a pretty fun fight to watch.
Yeah, it really was. Good win for Millender as he continues to move up in the UFC. Another one we kind of called on this show.
Yep.
Labby, Pup, Tracker Closa, taking out Lando Venata, 30-27 across the board. The first of, not the first of many dogs, but you see a trend here on this card, especially as you hit the main card. This fight really wasn't that close now, was it?
No. Closa was just a more refined striker, was able to put it on Venata, and he was able to kind of use the grappling a bit as well. I played Closa by decision. I was happy to see that happened. I got it at like plus 260. I think Venata's kind of just got figured out. Obviously, there's going to be some guys that aren't good enough to take advantage, but Closa definitely has some skills there to do it, and that's what he did. He's a pretty decent fighter. Hopefully he continues a bit of an ascension here. I know he kind of lost to was it Tamer that he lost last time out, I think.
David, not Daniel.
Yeah, it's not a terrible loss, so he'll especially with these young guys, they kind of hit some speed bumps, but he's got some skills.
Yeah, I was saying that Close will be an auto play if he won the first round. The odds were minus 165, and
Wow.
There's no way he was going to lose 2 rounds in a row after being up. It was a plus. It was a minus 165 after the first round. So
You grabbed some of that?
just by the nature of just how he fights. He's kind of like a Barbarina. He's kind of a bulldozer. Same camp, right?
Yep.
If you get a full 3 rounds from those guys, and they put you through the buzzsaw. So good win for our friend Closa. This fight, this is one that the Sodsman kept talking about. How on earth was this line the way it was? And Rafael Assunção continues to be, I think we have to say, the most underrated fighter in the sport today, which is saying something. He was a minimal favorite over Rob Font. I think it was under minus 150, and he just beat the brakes off of him.
Yep.
This fight wasn't close at all against Rob Font, who was once again outclassed by a top 10 fighter.
Yeah, I think we kind of see at this point what Rob Font's ceiling is. Impressive. Assunção close minus 140. He's a good fighter. I think just because of the way he wins, nobody really.
I think we have to call him a great fighter.
Yeah, I mean he's a perennial top 5 bantamweight.
Yeah.
And yeah, just the way he fights, nobody really likes it. He goes to a lot of decisions, but he is tough to figure out, and he has skills to just shut down your game, and that's exactly what he did. He even dropped Font in this fight, which was good to see. Yep, definitely kicking myself for not taking that short money on Sunsao. He doesn't seem like he's slowing down, even at 35 with 30 plus fights. He's good to go. What do you think they do with him at this point?
I think you have to put him in a legitimate number one contender fight and call it what it is. I don't know who you do it against, but I think he's deserving of being in that spot. But then again, I mean, Marlon Moraes has just laid out people, and I think he's deserving. I think Marlon Moraes should legitimately be the guy who faces. He should be in the cage, like at whatever in LA, for that fight card, and let him stand there. And this is the guy who fights next. And then you could put a Sunsao against, I don't know, maybe Dominic Cruz for a number one contender fight after that, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends how. I don't know how long.
I don't think he's fought Dominic yet, so
I would. That's hard to believe, just with like.
No,
but I think I remember seeing somebody say that he's never, with how long they go back into WEC, it's crazy that they haven't fought. Yeah, they haven't. Crazy. Yeah, I think you got to do that.
If the opportunity is there, do that, and then let Marlon Moraes get his shot, because I think Marlon's super dangerous and is absolutely capable of winning that title against either guy. I think deserves the right to fight for it, given how he's won his fights. So let's see that. And the TV prelim headliner was something else.
Wow.
Our boy, a little drunk, against Uriah Hall. Man, this was a slugfest.
Yeah, these guys were not taking it easy on each other when it came to either dick kicks, dick punches, or face punching, or body punching, or kicking. It was all offense everywhere. Uriah Hall kind of held his own a bit there, but wow, Paulo Costa is a fairly terrifying human being, because Hall was just pumping that jab, and he just kind of walked through it. He showed a decent amount of cardio there. It went, I think this was the longest fight of his career, and he just destroyed Hall at the end there. The body work that Costa was putting on him was impressive. That's a scary dude. I color me impressed. I was a little skeptical. I sprinkled on Hall at a big plus 260, or I don't know, it was plus 320 or something like that. But yeah, got to give props to Costa. That's a scary dude, and gotta love watching him. That might be the next Brazil guy with how young he is and kind of what he's showed so far.
He's going to be pumped. It's going to be interesting to see who they put him up against next, because that dude throws serious heat and he hurts people, and there's definitely going to be some hype because people like watching him, but it'll be curious to see who he faces next. I don't know. I mean, maybe he'll fight Brunson. I don't know.
I mean, everybody else is kind of.
I think maybe you're right. One of those two guys will fight Brunson.
Yeah,
him or Adesanya, and maybe the other fights Thiago Santos.
Yeah,
maybe that's what I would do. I mean,
they might do that just because they don't want to put two Brazilians against each other.
Right. Yeah. So, Eric Andrews is around too, but
yeah, he's not ranked though. So
he's not. You're right. They don't want to have like Theodoro or. I mean, Antonio Carlos Jr. seems like he's kind of on another track,
just
as well.
Style
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think you want him. Yeah, exactly. Do you really want to? That's not going to make for a compelling fight.
No.
I'd rather see like Carlos Jr. go against like Jacare or something. That'd be fucking badass.
Yeah, but
I don't think
they're going to do that either.
I don't think they're going to do that either, unfortunately. So I think they rather just have these like exciting striker type dudes face. Like kind of guys that also prefer to strike, and then until you have to, until you're going to fight the elite dudes, now you're going to fight them.
Yeah, you're forced to. Yep.
I mean, you could have like Little Drunk take on Kelvin Gastelum at some point down the road, but it's too far away.
Gastelum's fighting Whitaker.
We'll see if that actually happens.
Yeah.
Because neither of those guys likes to stay healthy.
That's true.
Main card. world champion kickboxer gets KO'd by Khalil Roundtree Jr.
We
want to tell me what the hell happened here?
We absolutely ate our words here. We did. We were shit talking Roundtree, talking about he's never been hit by us, and then we listed off all the kickboxers that Gokhan Saki has fought, and then 4-ounce gloves, and look what happens.
I don't know. What did we learn here, though? Did we learn anything?
Not really. What we learned is some kickboxers are going to struggle in MMA because of the small gloves. They use those gloves for defense, and they don't hide much in MMA. And usually, if you get hit by a 230, 225 pound human being on the chin, clean, you might go down. And I think that's kind of what we learned from this. Gokhan Saki's still going to be a fun fighter. Dana said he's still going to match him up, give him another fight. So hopefully we see some violence.
Gokhan Saki isn't going anywhere in MMA either. So
yeah,
that we might have learned.
It's just kind of a fun thing. I don't think anybody expected Saki to become some contender or anything like that. He just kind of wanted to see some fun fights, some knockouts, and I think that's all we're going to get from him.
We'll agree with you. Next fight up. Do we have a turning back the clock performance by Anthony Pettis?
Wow.
A guy that people left for dead. Not a great first round, but second round pops. Kies is kind of tired, and Pettis advantage, and subs the submission guy. New Shaun.
Yeah, you got to give props to Pettis. We kind of almost wrote his obituary. He definitely got helped out by, holy shit, this is a hell of a fight. Are you watching the Contender Series?
Yeah.
Aguilar kind of lost that first round, didn't look good, and now they're swinging.
I think I've seen enough from Aguilar now where I don't think he's going to amount to much in MMA. What if I tell you that? Like, he's gotten through. He's kind of like a working man kind of a fighher, but I don't see, like, elite talent anywhere.
Yeah, he's good enough to beat up on the regional.
Doesn't have speed. He's got decent power, but there's no elite ability anywhere.
Yeah, which is tough at a weight class like that. You kind of need it.
I think Bevan is like a much.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he's been taken down in this fight. I mean,
yeah, it's not a great look, especially as big a favorite as he is. As for Pettis, yeah, you got to give props for Pettis. He turned it around, was able to drop Chiesa. But I will say Chiesa had an absolute brutal weight cut. He said he thought he was going to die. He missed weight, so I definitely think he gasped because of that. He said he's going up to 170 now.
Good.
So maybe this will get.
Gonna get his ass kicked there.
Oh, for sure. He's another guy that doesn't have elite athleticism, and that's gonna probably get to him at 170. But I had Chiesa by decision in this. Obviously, that didn't cash. But maybe this somewhat impressive performance by Pettis will give me a cheaper number on whoever he fights next, because I'm still looking to fade Tony Pettis.
Yeah, me too. Could be definitely a fade plan. I think this is an anomaly because Pettis was kind of just tooled on in the first round, and then people are acting like he did all these great things in the second round. I mean, he took advantage of a guy that had nothing left.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell Chiesa was running out of gas with like a minute 30 in the first round too. So it was kind of an ugly look. Definitely lost some money on this next fight because Paul Felder broke his right hand and couldn't throw it, and then had a headbutt which opened it up, and then after that he took an elbow which really opened things up because of the headbutt from before, and Mike Perry kind of took advantage, and Paul Felder almost still won the fight.
Yeah, very, very close fight. I had goes to decision, that cashed. I definitely agree with you. If Felder doesn't break his arm by that spinning shit, he probably wins, but...
Not hand, right arm, yeah.
Yeah. Disappointing for sure. I don't think it really lowers anybody's stock or increases anybody's stock. It just it was just a fight that happened. It was pretty damn fun.
It was brutal and entertaining. I mean, what else could you want?
Just a
if anything, it might raise Felder's stock.
Yeah, because he was able to stay in there with a pretty heavy hitter at 170 and didn't get melted. So, fun fight. Not much else to say. Shitty for Felder. Got to watch that spinning shit. He was even throwing it even after he broke his arm. So,
I know, what an animal.
Crazy dude.
Aguilar's going to lose this fight, isn't
he? He might, especially with a guy laying on him for longer periods of time for 2 straight rounds, even though he...
This cage is a bloody mess, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we had the amazing co-main event, and that was...
thank God the main event happened, because the co-main was... as you know, a disaster, but it was a pretty good pay-per-view overall. I mean, it was entertaining except for the co-main event.
Yeah, that really drained it.
Basically, a little drunk up. I mean, that fight was just a freaking blitzkrieg, and then that kind of got you pumped up for the pay-per-view, and then you got to see Tony Pettis kind of show something, Saki get knocked out, Felder's resiliency, and then Cormier winning the title, and then Brock calling everybody an asshole, basically. This guy's an asshole. Blah. That was great. So there's been worse pay-per-views before.
And I think Ngannou Lewis was to the point where it was so bad it was kind of funny. I don't know if other people will agree with me, but like at some point you just got to be like, what are we doing here? Is this actually happening? But
it was dumbfounding for sure.
It was mind-boggling, that's for sure.
Yeah, I have to agree. So, next fight card, Idaho.
They're going to Boise.
Isn't that kind of close to you?
Not. Let's see. I don't even know where.
It's in Idaho. It's east of Washington.
That might be closer than I actually thought it would be.
Montana, south. That's probably like 1,000 miles for you. Maybe less. I'm going to say 800 miles.
Yeah, Boise's pretty south Idaho.
Yeah,
it's a bit far. Let's see. Let's bring it up. It is 1,000 miles.
Okay, it wasn't that far.
Yep.
I mean, no one else was within 1,000 miles of it, so. Rogan was supposedly there like last week or something doing a comedy show. I don't know why he went to Boise ahead of whatever.
Well, because he doesn't call those fights anymore, right? So
yeah.
I guess he's got to do his touring now.
Yeah, I get the whole thing. Well, if I'm going to be here on a Saturday calling fights, I might as well go there on a Friday and sell out a venue to a bunch of MMA fans who are going to want to see me do comedy. So totally makes sense.
Yep.
First fight up on this card. I know New Shaun may or may not have a total bet. Jessica Aguilar, post PED Aguilar, taking on Jody Escobel. New Shaun, are there totals out? And if there are you betting the over?
Fight goes to decision is minus 350. So
that's not for you.
That's a bit in the no zone. I have a tough time putting anything higher than minus 300, but I probably should be because most of these ones in this range are cashing. I was a bit surprised Aguilar is a dog. Escobel hasn't really shown too much. I guess neither has Aguilar. I'll probably pick Aguilar just because she's the dog and I think a bit more of her skills, but it's MMA and it's women's MMA and don't really care too much, so who knows?
I'm kind of with you. I got Aguilar a C- and Escobel a D. I mean, it's just so hard for me because when she first came into the UFC, I had her as like a B or a B+, and then couldn't wrestle, which is like stunning to me, and got completely outclassed by Claudia, even though she was like a more acclaimed wrestler, and it's just gone like downhill from there. I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with
USADA. I don't want to speculate too much, but I think that is certainly a factor here. So it's kind of really hard to know where she's at. But, I mean, come on. Like, can't beat Jody Escobel of all people.
Yeesh.
I mean, her last loss was to what? Courtney Casey? Yeah, I mean, she lost to Claudia and Courtney Casey. I mean, way better.
Those are big jumps down to Escobel.
Exactly. So that's my thinking as well. So I'll take Aguilar by decision. I don't know if you have anything to say about De La Rosa Elias Garcia. I assume you don't.
Yeah, I got nothing on these two.
Yeah, I got nothing on Garcia. So I do like De La Rosa, Montana De La Rosa's husband. He's fought in the UFC before, I believe. No, I believe
De La Rosa lost to what's his name? The flyweight that lost to DJ in. Come on, I'm just pulling up. Sorry about that.
Tim Elliott.
There we go.
I mean, it's not a terrible loss.
Yeah, I mean, he just got subbed by Tim Elliott.
Yeah.
Hasn't fought since December, end of December.
Okay. Well, it's only 6 or 7 months, so there's been worse. Liz Carmouche taking on Jennifer Maia. Women's flyweight news, Shaun.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my gosh.
FICO's decision is minus 350, so probably not going to happen unless I just really can't find anything on these cards and might just parlay up all these shitty goes to decision fights. But
Maia is the number 1 ranked women's flyweight in the world right now. She's won 6 straight fights at flyweight. Modafferi, Vanessa Porto, this Agnes Niedwidzki and Invicta, a few others as well.
What's Carmouche?
She has a win over Jessica Andrade in 2012.
Yeah, that's a long time ago. Carmouche hasn't fought since the start of December, where she lost to Alexis Davis.
Both these girls are grapplers, really. So, I mean, I guess Carmouche can throw a little bit, but I mean, Maia's really just going to look to take the fight to the ground, and that's really it's going to be a battle of who can have top position. Not the easiest thing.
Yeah,
I might take Maia on principle. I think you might get some value in people, Carmouche being a more known entity.
Yep, I'll pick that in Toastmaster as well. So did Aguilar lose that fight?
I think so, but I don't know. I mean, I wasn't really super paying attention. I think Dana just gives the one contract.
Yeah, They might give it to the flyweight. It was a bit of a longer fight, but he was pretty impressive.
I guess we'll see.
I guess we'll see right away.
Do you have anything to say about our friend Kurt Hollabaugh returning to the UFC against Ronnie Barcelos?
Rowney Barcelos.
Ronda Rousey?
I know nothing of Rowney Barcelos. Supposedly he last fought in 2016, October 2016. Yeah, that's
not a good look. Jesus, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, over a year and a half. Hollabaugh obviously was on the Contender Series. I'll take Hollabaugh.
Why is Bellator doing 2 events in a row?
Oh, who knows?
I was just looking. They have a Friday event and a Saturday event.
Who knows? It's Bellator.
Oh my God! It's Vishal and Patricio. Oh God, what are they doing? Let me look up Ronnie. It's 11. I feel like I remember him from somewhere, but I don't remember him.
I think he fought in RFA. That was his last fight.
He beat Dan Morit, who's in the UFC now.
Is he still in the UFC?
Yeah, valid point. Let's beat someone called Bobby Moffett.
Yeah, he's the guy that lost to Gilbert Burns. Got knocked out.
Who?
Dan Morit got knocked out by Gilbert Burns in April.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, he's got a decent resume, Ronnie Barcelos, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say there.
That's fair.
This card is kind of like a who knows, in my opinion.
Very, very. Who knows what the fuck's gonna happen?
Next up, though, we got a guy who likes to be choked out, Justin Scoggins, taking on a Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, the Nurmagomedov has a lot of decisions, though. So, I mean,
So what?
Scoggins really likes to piss away fights, so it could always happen. Goes to decision. This fight is, I think, minus 190, minus 180. So I don't know. Scoggins is such a heckle and jive. Oh, Aguilar won. Fuck yeah.
But did he really, though?
All that matters is I cashed my bet. Lance goes 3-0. I tailed his ass. Here we go.
God.
Yeah, Scoggins.
Lockbox.
Yeah, fair enough. Scoggins is a heckle and jive, Jekyll and Hyde character. He seems very good at some points, and then he pisses away wins. So it's hard to bet on his fights. It's hard to know what he's going to do. Saeed obviously has a pretty damn good pedigree. Tough to know.
He has one loss. He lost to Magomed Bibulatov.
To Bibulatov. I don't think I don't think he's fought in North America. That's another thing that's a bit sketchy.
No, he has not.
So I think I'm going to have to pick Scoggins, but there's no chance I would ever bet Scoggins at this point in his career.
I don't think I could ever bet against a Nurmagomedov, even if they lose fights like they did, like one did last week on PFL. Scoggins is a guy who, when you strike with him, he can do well, but he blows ass when people try to take him to the mat. He is not good in that regard. And he's very unreliable. So I will take a Nurmagomedov in this bout.
No surprise there, Jay.
Yeah, I'm like... Next fight up, perhaps the most interesting fight on the entire card. Darren Elkins, top 10 featherweight, taking on surging Australian. We mentioned Australia before. Sir Alex Volkanovski. New Shaun, what do you got for me here?
Yeah, so supposedly the opener on this fight was actually Volkanovski plus 115. That was gone so quick that Best Fight Odds didn't even catch it. Best Fight Odds caught Volkanovski at like minus 160, and that was gone in seconds. It's obviously ballooned up. Volkanovski is now minus 355, Elkins plus 295. When Elkins got to plus 260, I did throw half a unit on him. This guy just somehow overcomes. I think this might be the end of it. Volkanovski has looked pretty damn impressive in the UFC. He just mauled Jeremy Kennedy last time out. Another great white Canadian hype train there. Elkins is just a tough bastard. He's probably should have been finished in two of his last three fights, but he ended up winning all of them. So, I might sprinkle another half unit on him at plus 295. It's tough. I think I'm just looking for something there. Volkanovski probably just demolishes, but I'll pick Darren Elkins just because he just overcomes and it's plus 295. That's all I can really say there. This is a tough matchup for Elkins, but what can you do?
I mean, I got Elkins a B and Volkanovski a B minus. I mean, Volkanovski has looked excellent so far in the UFC, but so had Mirsad Bektic before he fought Elkins, and then Elkins found a way to beat him. I think Volkanovski's got a better gas tank than Bektic, which I guess isn't saying that much, but it's just really hard to pick against Elkins considering the type of guys that he's fought and the caliber of fighters that he's beaten. So until someone proves to me they can beat a fighter like Elkins, then I wouldn't bet against them. It's just not happening. So I'll take Elkins.
Oh shit.
TV preliminary headliner. We got Alex, or is it Alessandro Perez? Alejandro.
Alejandro.
Sorry. Alejandro Perez. taking on Chicago's Eddie Vineland, a man that's broken his jaw multiple times in MMA. New Shaun, what are we doing here?
This is a tough one. I still don't think Eddie Wineland is a thing. I know he came back and beat Frankie Saenz and then knocked out the corpse of Mizugaki in the first round, but Dodson kind of did pretty well against him, even though he's a undersized bantamweight. Alejandro Perez, it's another one of these guys that I shit on coming off of TUF Latin America, I'm pretty sure, and he's stretched out a pretty damn impressive career. Hasn't lost since 2015. Beat Alcantara, beat Matthew Lopez, beat Sukantai. Like he's got some decent wins. I don't know if he should be a minus 210 favorite. I think that's kind of just people thinking that Eddie Wineland is done at this point, which I kind of agree with. Eddie Wineland is a pretty good vet. He's been around the block, but like you said, he's also broken his jaw a bunch of times. So I can't put a bet on either of these guys. I think Perez probably wins a decision, a somewhat dominant decision, and he'll keep his win or his I guess win streak / not hasn't lost streak and keep it going.
Yeah, this is tough. I agree with you. I got both these guys to see. I think Vineland definitely is technically the superior fighter, but Alejandro is definitely younger. I think maybe a bit more resilient and durable at this point. So it's tough because there's those advantages for Perez, and then just Vineland being a much technically superior boxer. You just always wonder about Wineland with injury and how he's going to show up in the cage. So I'm going to pick Perez, but it's super close. TV card, I'm surprised this is opening a fight night card, given just kind of the history here. Yeah, I got Marion Renault taking on the return of Ngannou. New Shaun.
I think I may have convinced myself just to parlay all these chick fights to go to decision.
Yeah, America.
I don't have barely any bets on this card, so that is probably going to happen after this show. Marino actually has finished her last two fights. Obviously, the second last one is against something called Talita Bernardo.
Oh,
so
yeah, I remember that.
That is something. And then she was able to choke out Mom Quit Sarah McMahon last time out. So that's I guess those are things that have happened. Kat Zingano, three fight losing streak. Obviously, he's fought pretty good competition. Those three losses: Rousey, Pena, Vieira. So
well, it's back 3.5 years though.
Yeah, I mean Vieira, she lost to her, and it was a split decision. But I'm pretty sure everybody kind of thought she lost. That was in March of this year. So look out, Kat Zingano's having her second fight in the year, and it's July. It's kind of crazy. I think Zingano is the much more skilled fighter, but she is, 36. I mean, Renault's 40 or 41, so I can't really talk about age, but I don't know. Zingano's been through a lot in her life. I guess I'll take her because she's the more skilled fighter, but I would not be surprised if the gym teacher pulls it out one more time.
Let's see who they take.
How many they can take? What do they got? Read it out to me, Jay, when you hear it, because mine's on mute.
It looks like the flyweight got taken.
Oh, yeah.
Espinoza.
Did you watch that fight? He dropped the guy probably 4 or 5 times. He finally got a finish with a couple seconds to go. It's fairly impressive. And then who else? They got to take Lewis, right? They're for sure going to take Lewis.
I don't know. I'm trying to say. Yep. Looks like Lewis got it. Shocker.
And that's it, or what?
I'm hoping so.
Yeah, I think that's... I mean, Aguilar had a pretty bad performance.
I don't think Aguilar's deserving.
No, I mean, he might... He probably should be in
there. He shouldn't even be in there.
Yeah.
Probably should just be brought in on short notice against someone.
And that might be what they're going to do.
That's probably what they're going to say.
So, yeah, two.
Lewis was the best fighter I saw on the show.
Yep, he did the thing. He had a developmental deal, and he came through. So, what do you got on Ngannou and the gym teacher?
I don't know. It's so hard to know. I got Ngannou a B- and Renault a C+. I mean, she definitely has a higher end ability, but she's lost 3 in a row. She hasn't won a fight since she beat Amanda Nunes back in September 2014. So, and at 36 years old, I mean, I know Renault's older than her, but
it's a different kind of old.
Yeah, she hasn't gone through the same shit that Ngannou's gone through. I think Renault also keeps her shape better.
Yeah, she doesn't blow up to 180 pounds.
No.
Which
she doesn't.
It's a real thing.
So,
I mean,
you know that Renault's more reliable, and that's, I think, what it comes down to. So if you're looking, I'm not looking to bet either here. I can't. I mean, I don't know how one really can in this regard. But you know, if you're looking just to say who's going to win, who's going to lose, I mean, you have to go with the fighter who's just more consistent at this point, and that's Marion Renault. Like I said, my grade on Ngannou is so volatile just because of it's just her lack of fighting, and yeah, there's no reason to go into it any more detail than that. It's brutal. On the plus side, this fight card sees the return of one of Alpha Male's greatest fighters of all time, Chad Mendes.
The Money Mendes.
Back from 2 years of steroid abuse. Taking on Miles Jury. Chad Mendes is minus 250 here. New Shaun.
Yeah,
Can you justify it?
Mendes has not fought since December 11th, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
That is over 2.5 years. That is a long time in the fight game. Jury, he looked pretty decent against Rick Glenn last time. Obviously beat the shit out of Mike Delatorre before that.
Big deal.
Yeah, this is a big step up. Obviously, I think Mendes has been training this whole time.
Gotta see what it looks like.
Yeah, he was coming off 2 KOs, one by Frankie Edgar and another one by McGregor. So I guess the break probably helped out his brain if he wasn't getting mashed in the gym too much. But I can't put money on Mendes with that long a layoff. If it wasn't a layoff, obviously it's a completely different story, but hopefully he can come out and do his thing and show that he's back, but I'll have to sit and watch. But I do think he is able to wrestle if he needs to and throw hands when he can and probably win a decision.
Yeah, this is tough. I think this is a fight where, I mean, I have Chad Mendes graded as an A-, and
from 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And Miles Jury a B-. Well, I think I had him an A, and I dropped him to an A- on principle, but it's really hard to suggest how good he really is at this point. I think this is a fight you really need to kind of watch the weigh-in, more so than you have in the past for just a normal fight, because you can kind of see what kind of shape he's in. Because he was in tip-top shape when he was at the elite level. See if he's, as he's gotten a little bit older and, hasn't fought all this time, is he still in that kind of condition? If he is, maybe there's an opportunity. If he's kind of, out of that, then I think you have to think maybe there's a chance for Jury, who's definitely, has been fighting pretty consistently now. So that's the way I'd look at this bout. Next up, Nico Price and Randy Downtown Brown. I just made that up.
He's Rude Boy. Come on now.
Rude Boy. Right. He's Jamaican. Of course he is.
There you go. Yeah, I've kind of always thought that Randy Brown was a bit overhyped. He's definitely has some decent wins. Last time out, he was able to come back. He had a pretty impressive first round against Mickey Gall, but really shitted away in the second, right? It was that way, right? He was... Or was it first? I forget which one it was, but he was able to pull out the third round, which is obviously impressive. And
he did that against another fighter too, like
he was losing against Eric Montano, and he pulled out a submission win in the third there. So he definitely has a bit of comeback in him, but it's not great to be put into those situations in the first place. Nico Price, he's got a couple pretty damn good wins. He obviously lost to Luque, which isn't a bad thing. Luque's pretty good. That knockout of Alan Jouban was pretty nice. At this price, I kind of got to take Nico Price. I think he'll be able to outstrike, and if he needs to, can outgrapple Randy Brown. Randy Brown's kind of shown that if you can get him down, he can't do too much. So if that's the case, I'll take Nico Price, but I don't like him enough for a bet at this point.
Yeah, this is. I got both. Actually, I have Nico Price a C- and Randy Brown a D+. Brown definitely super long for the weight class, but so is Nico Price. I think people forget how big he is for this weight. And Price, I think, has more well-known tool set, can grapple a bit, certainly wrestle. He's shown a pretty good ability. He's definitely got to be a little bit weary of Randy Brown, but Randy Brown's not really like a heavy knockout one-punch guy. He's more of, use his length and then kind of pepper you to eventually get his finishes. I just like Nico Price's game, all-around game a bit more. I think Randy Brown's more of a limited fighter. So I'll take Nico Price. It's nearing bet territory, but it's not a bet yet. 3 fights left on the card. We got Dennis Bermudez taking on Rick Glenn. New Shaun.
Which fight are we doing? Rick Glenn? Is that the next fight? Oh, I must have missed
it.
Oh, yeah, Dennis Bermudez against Rick Glenn. Bermudez has struggled a bit lately. He has. He's losing to Andre Feely. I mean, the Elkins loss is what it is. Knocked out by the Korean Zombie. I think they're definitely putting him in a situation to get the win here. Glenn is fairly tough though. He's got a bit of skills kind of everywhere. I can't bet Bermudez here. He just kind of shits away fights, and I don't like having money on guys like that. But Glenn is just not skilled enough for me to take the dog on that one. But I'll expect Bermudez to win a decision just by using kind of wrestling when he needs to and throwing hands. And it should be fairly entertaining. Rick Glenn's usually in some pretty good fights, so should be a good one.
I got Glenn a C-, Bermudez a C+. I kind of agree with New Shaun on this one that Bermudez certainly hasn't looked at his best his last few fights. I'd say he's definitely on the downswing of his career, but I think he's definitely being put in an opportunity to get a win here. Glenn is kind of a pain to kind of fight. Pretty high strike volume. Fairly aggressive. Doesn't have huge knockout power. But Bermudez can definitely wrestle him, take him to the mat. I think there can be a couple difficult moments for Bermudez in this bout, but I think this is a fight that he ultimately passes the test and gets to win. The odds are, I guess you could say they're in the ballpark. So I don't think it's worthy of a bet. Next bout, maybe a different story. Sage Northcutt
in a co-main event in Boise, Idaho, taking on the ghost of Zach Otto, new Shaun. What are we doing here? What are you doing here?
They're trying to get Sage a win here. They put him in the co-main event, and they put him up against Zach Otto, who stole the Barbarian nickname from Brian Barberina. That's no bueno. Not a good look. Sage is moving up to 170. I think that's a much better weight class for him. He'll have much better cardio. And I think maybe his power will stay with him a bit more there. Zach Otto he knocked out Mike Pyle last time. Whoopity doo. He's not very skilled. I don't think too much of him. I think Sage, with his athleticism, his speed, he'll be able to mix it up and get a decision. Zach Otto, he has been finished. He did get knocked out by Jangalang 2 fights ago. So there is a spot there where Sage could knock him out, but I think Sage will probably win a decision, likely 29-28. And with that being said, I think I'm gonna have to put a bet on him at minus 130. Kind of hard to pass that up.
Yeah, Sage. I got Sage a D plus and Otto a D. I mean, the athleticism gap here is so significant.
Insane.
It's stupid. Otto is aging significantly. He doesn't have the chin that he used to have. Sage, I think, can take this fight to the mat, kind of at will. Like I said, there's just such a huge speed advantage, and I think him moving up to 170 really helps him. He's not going to tire out. And I think that plays into his advantages here. And as we talked about, they really want him to get a W. So, basically almost even odds. I'm with New Shaun. I like Sage Northcutt here. I think he's worth a bet. And he is our consensus bet of the week. I almost cannot believe it. Consensus bet on Sage Northcutt at minus 130.
That's a good look.
Oh, man. We go from Ngannou winning by inside the distance or TKO to Sage Northcutt. My goodness. Yeah. Yeah, that's the best bet on the board, folks. Sage Northcutt at almost even money against an aging, slow, plodding fighter. Main event time. This should be interesting. The return of Junior Dos Santos, and he returns to all places, Boise, Idaho.
You got the Brazilian versus the Bulgarian in Boise, Idaho.
Again, the Bulgarian brute, Blagoy Ivanov, the former Bellator champion. Is that correct?
No, he's
World
Series
of Fighting. But he was also in Bellator for a bit. I think he lost a title fight to
Volkov, right?
Volkov, yeah. That's his only career loss, actually, is to Volkov. Yeah. Dos Santos, Ivanov. Is this going to be a triumphant return for Junior Dos Santos? Or is Ivanov already going to stake his claim to an opportunity in the heavyweight division?
It's so hard to know. Dos Santos has been out for a year. I mean, it was only a year that he was out for because of the shitty USADA. Hashtag fuck USADA. He did get knocked out in that Stipe fight. Didn't really like what I saw from him. The fight before that, though, he looked really good. He stuck to his game plan against Ben Rothwell. And so I kind of expected him to do a bit better against Stipe, but here we are. And then he's fighting Ivanov, who, like you said, he's only lost once in his career to Volkov. His last fight was in November, so not too long ago. Obviously, his strength of schedule is not close to Junior Dos Santos, but it's hard for me to pick Dos Santos at this point in his career. He's just looked rough in a couple fights, and then that layoff, who knows what he's going to look like. I think I'm going to pick Ivanov, and I think I might have to bet him. It's plus 160.
Wow.
I hate betting heavyweight fights. There's seems to be a lot of variance. It's definitely not going to be a big bet. Might just probably throw one unit on it and see just bet on Junior Santos being a shell of his former self.
Yeah, again, the grades are so hard to come up with here.
For sure.
So I have Dos Santos a B and Ivanov a C+. It's really hard to know if Dos Santos' head is literally Musselman applesauce or if it's something else at this point. Obviously, we all know that Kane took years off his life for the beatings that he put on him. But maybe the time off, you just don't know, because remember the fight against Ben Rothwell?
Everybody thought he was done.
Everybody thought he was back. Yeah, they thought he was done going into that fight, and then he came back, and then he was done again. Yep. Exactly. So was that a one-hit wonder? Was some other things? It's hard to know. I mean, Ivanov, he's not a world beater, but he's pretty consistent. He's only been beaten one time, and to a guy that a lot of people think is pretty good, and Volkov, and he's hard to finish. This is really tough because, from an attacking standpoint, Dos Santos definitely is a much higher ceiling, but where is he at? So I don't know. It's hard to even pick until you kind of have to wait till the day of or the weigh-ins and see how each guy looks, see what kind of opportunities there are. So let's see what happens. So I'm going to say that's TBD. And Shaun, I think that just about does it for this week's show. Yeah. I understand you're going to T-Dot for a vacation, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Or is it work?
No, it's work vacation. Me and my girlfriend are heading out there. Her brother lives out there, so going to do a bunch of touristy stuff out there, see Niagara Falls, and go.
Oh, nice! You ever seen it? Ever been there?
Nope, definitely have not been there.
That'd be cool.
Yep. So no fight card next week, so I guess we'll be taking a week off, and then the week after is a dumpster fire of a card is UFC Germany.
That's next week.
No, it's 2 weeks.
Oh,
July 22nd.
Yeah, it's already July. It's going to be July 14th on Saturday, Shaun.
Oh, fuck yeah! I guess we're doing the podcast so early this week. I got confused. Yeah, there is a card next week.
There is a card. I don't know what's going on with that card. I have not looked. I guess we should just take a quick gander.
Yeah, you want to
give a little preview to the listeners. Let's take a look. What do we got there? Let's start at the bottom. What else has been added here? Nad Narimani, he's okay. I don't know who he's fighting.
Cool, yeah.
I think I already have a bet lined up on a bout. I see something I like. I don't know what the price is going to be, but I think there's a distinct advantage. I see something.
That's good to hear.
Wait, is there Damian Stasiak facing a fighter from China?
Yep.
I don't know who that is, but that makes me curious. Jeremy Kimball's taking on someone I've never heard of. Ledet and Rakic. I've been wondering where Ledet is.
Yeah, he hasn't fought. He hasn't fought since 2017. He
has been looking for a boxing contract.
Yeah, after a split decision win against Zoo Anywho.
Oh my gosh. Emil Meek is facing. We haven't seen Fabianski's forever. Oh, that's something. Nick Hine against Damir Hadzovic. That won't be easy for Hine. But he is I feel like he's undefeated in Germany though, so
yeah, hard to go
huge advantage. Him. Hot Chocolate Roberts, Alan Jobon's returning.
That's a decent fight.
But Jobon's getting old, man. What's he, 36 years old, turns 37 in November? Woof.
Yeah, he crushed Ben Saunders last time, though.
I remember this Nasrat Haqparast. That should be an exciting fight with Mark Diakiese.
Yep.
Someone's going down there. Old man Vitor Miranda's facing off against a guy we've never heard of. Why is Tamura and Stefan Struve not the main event?
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it's a 3-round fight. Tibura should win.
Yeah. Should. But.
Should. Strange things happen. I mean, he went 5 rounds with, what's his name? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Glover was supposed to fight Latifi, but Latifi pulled out, so now he's fighting Corey Anderson.
Yeah, you don't know what can happen there. I mean, I think I know what's going to happen there, but it's 3 rounds, so got to catch him, right?
Yep. And then Shogun was supposed to fight Volkan, but then Volkan got pulled because of his court thing, which got dropped. So I guess that was.
Are there odds in that fight yet?
On Shogun versus, yeah, there is. Do you want to know what they are?
I'm looking at it. Okay, I'm not thinking about betting it now.
Yeah. Anthony Smith probably knocks out Shogun, and we all get sad.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yep, so that's an interesting fight card. That's one word. But the following week is UFC on Fox Calgary, and I will be in person to watch that, and that is a pretty damn good card. So that'll be.
Where is that? How far are you from there?
2.5 hours south from me.
Okay, that's drivable.
Yep, our friend Trish is coming up from Denver, so.
Nice.
Be a good time.
Nice. So I guess you'll be able to do the podcast that week.
Yep.
Earlier in the week, and then we'll get that going. So we got fight cards pretty much the rest of the month. So a lot to talk about. There's talk of also John Jones, a decision finally being made on his USADA case by the end of the month. So could be interesting times on the MMA analysis. If Jonathan Dwight returns, we'll have a lot to discuss. So with that, enjoy the fights, and we'll be back next week.